Back in March, Xseed Games published Falcom's PS4 port of The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. Originally released for PS Vita and PlayStation 3 in 2015, this new port brought the instant classic RPG to the PS4 ahead of the PS4 exclusive Trails of Cold Steel 3. Bringing the previous two titles to platform parity with the third game makes sense, as these are direct sequels that have safe transferring functionality. Now, it's time for the second game to come out, in similar fashion. Much like the previous title, this is a straightforward port of the PS Vita PS3 version, with nary a new bell or whistle in sight. That's okay though, because if you haven't played these games before, it's the perfect time to jump in. Trails of Cold Steel is a great rabbit hole to tumble down, especially with the new twists and turns to the gameplay. The most direct sequel, be warned, here, there be spoilers. The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 2 is a direct sequel to the previous game, in the most literal way possible. It starts immediately from the ending of the first game, which was one of the most nail-biting cliffhangers in JRPG history. Seemingly out of nowhere, albeit perfectly foreshadowed, Crow betrayed his friends and country, and did so in epic fashion with a giant freaking robot. Mind, Trails of Cold Steel was not a game about giant robots. Protagonist Reen gets a giant robot of his own, and the battle between the two ends with Reen retreating and leaving his Class 7 friends behind on the battlefield. Heavy stuff, especially because so much of this series is about the bond between friends. Some time passes, and Class 7 are circumstantial dropouts. Thor's academy is under occupation by the enemy forces, and the various classes have been scattered across the country and taken on specific roles in the ongoing conflict over control of Erebonia. As Reen, your first mission is to get the band back together. As you find each member of Class 7 and see what each one has been up to since the previous game, you get a real sense of growth from each character that goes a long way to selling the whole world as a real place inhabited by real people. Once everyone does get back together, the stuff really does hit the fan, and several hours of build becomes several hours of thrilling payoff. School is no longer in session in terms of play. Trails of Cold Steel 2 is much like its predecessor in that combat is more of a means to an end to get through the plot, than a focus in the game.